Hey guys, my name is Ali Al Karaguli. I am a systems engineer at the NASA Jet Propulsion Lab. And in this video, I want to show you four techniques, especially if you're someone who has ADHD or higher up on the ADHD spectrum, that can help you get started instantly on tasks and overcome laziness. And I made a previous video where I went over this entire four steps to hyperfocus the ADHD system. In this video, I really want to focus on the execution piece. And in the previous video, I basically mentioned that in order to execute and get things done, you first need to get some things in order, such as clarity, prioritization, time management. You need to remove distractions, things from your life and whatnot. And there's a few other things. But this video, I really want to talk about execution because eventually you could have the most amazing plan in the world. You could have everything mapped out. But until you sit down and act and do the right things repeatedly over and over, nothing's going to happen. And I know this works because this is exactly what I've done to graduate my PhD at 26, get my job at NASA. This was also what helped me grow my other YouTube channel, my engineering YouTube channel, 30K subscribers, which is projected to 100K in like a few months. So I know this stuff works. So I really want to talk about the execution. So again, when it comes to execution, well, what is laziness? Laziness is not wanting to do something, right? It's a state of just kind of sitting there and not doing something, right? And obviously that's not desirable because you want to get up and get things done and execute and achieve your wildest dreams. Because eventually, I mean, we live in a physics-based world. It's the action that's going to cause the reaction, which is your results in business and in life. And most people don't understand this, but there's actually two pieces to execution. There's starting and there's continuing. And a lot of people struggle with starting. Some people struggle with continuing. I would say actually starting is usually the bigger problem because once you get started, often it is easier to continue. But continuing is often, again, about environment design, like just making sure that your phone is not near you, no one's distracting you. If you like the task, then that's going to help you hyper focus, it's going to help you get really down on what you need to do. But I really want to talk about the starting piece, right? Starting often has to do a lot with self-talk. Has to do with the things that you're telling yourself, the stories you're telling yourself. If you take two people who someone gets started very easily and is not very lazy, or someone who's a bit more lazy has a hard time starting, it really just comes down to the inner conversation they're having inside their brain. And I want to show you the four techniques in a little bit. But I also want to make it clear that laziness very often is very misunderstood and is very misinterpreted. Like people who are perceived as lazy, and we kind of give them a negative connotation. Oh, it's just stop being lazy. Just be more disciplined, bro. Just come on, just get the thing done. Like what people don't understand is those lazy, undisciplined people, they want to be disciplined and not lazy, like more than anyone else. They just like something is blocking them. There's some resistance, and that resistance has to do with the self talk. So I want to go over four different self-talk techniques. Again, especially relevant if you're someone with ADHD or higher up on the ADHD spectrum, meaning you're struggling to start on tasks, you struggle to focus for extended periods of time, you tend to have lower self-esteem because you're not, you know, you're smart, but you're not realizing your full potential. So I really want to go over these techniques and explain them in detail. So, again, what is self-talk? Self-talk is the conversation you're having with yourself, right? It's basically either you reacting to something that's going on or you issuing a command, you telling yourself, hey, go do this thing or go do that thing. But more importantly, it's about the relationship you have with yourself, right? A lot of people don't understand this, but there's a subconscious conversation going on all the time between you and yourself. There's two people. There's the one who's talking and then there's the one who's listening. And these people make up who you are, basically. And the first one that you need to do to overcome laziness and kind of kickstart inertia is to annihilate overwhelm. Very often, laziness is a function or a byproduct of overwhelm. And to give you some examples, when you tell yourself, "I gotta sit down and I gotta make a YouTube video," like, I gotta make a video. I gotta do this overwhelming thing which has multiple components. Which what are the components are again? What do I have to do? I have like yeah, I'll just do it later. What is this? Let me grab my phone. Right? This is how the brain works. Like when something seems daunting, overwhelming, when there's a big project going on, then you're gonna be a lot more likely to put it off. Now imagine if instead of saying I gotta make a video, all you said is, "Oh, I just gotta turn on the ring light and record." And this is a process I went through as I was making this video. I have this ring light right here, and initially I was feeling the resistance, even as a NASA engineer, PhD, blah blah blah, all that, like very cool person. Like I'm still a human, and I have ADHD. I'm pretty high up on the spectrum, and I can detect when my brain is like, "Oh, I gotta make a video," and immediately I'm like, "No, no, no, I don't have to make a video. I just gotta turn on my ring light and get my slides up and running. That's no big deal. And that alone kind of creates a relief. Okay, like I'll do that. That sounds a lot more doable. It's a lot more manageable. Another example is if you're someone like who's running a business and you have to run paid ads, is instead of telling yourself, "Oh, I gotta make 10 new ads," like that sounds so overwhelming, so terrifying. Imagine if you just said, "No, I just gotta write a hook or an outline for just one ad, right? I just gotta do that one small thing and get started." And that alone will get you the inertia to get started. Very often, once you write one ad, you will want to write the second and the second and the second. But again, very often laziness in this example is just a function of overwhelm. You know that the thing you have to do is just so difficult and daunting. Like, oh man, I don't want to do it. Where like if you just say to yourself, oh, I just gotta do this small thing, very often that'll help you keep going. Again, a very simple one is like, let's say you have an evening routine that helps you get ready for bed and whatnot, and you lay out the steps. When you say, "Oh, I gotta do my evening routine," like that sounds like that sounds like work. But instead, you could say, "Oh, I just gotta open my tracking sheet." Like for example, if you have a sheet that tracks your evening routine, that's all I gotta do. And once you do that, then you'll say, "Oh, I'll do the next thing, and then the next thing, and the next thing, and so on." Now, that's technique number one: is to use self-talk to reduce overwhelm and to basically make it easy to get started on something. Second thing is, again, something that's going on in the back of your mind you're often not detecting, is choice and ownership. And this one's very important because very often when you say, again, like when it comes to laziness, you're often thinking, oh man, uh, I I I have to do this thing. I have to make a video and I have to sit down and do this thing. And it sounds like someone's forcing something on you. It's killing your freedom. It's killing your ownership. And this is very, very important to change. Is instead of saying I have to record a video, you just say, oh, I get to make a cool video. Like you have to constantly sell yourself and reframe yourself on what it is that you're trying to do. Now, this is actually a lot harder than it seems. You may have even heard this before, but implementing it requires a lot of iteration and repetition because, for example, in my case, my default self-talk would be, oh, I gotta sit down and make a YouTube video. And I was able to catch myself and say, no, 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 I get to make it cool. I'm literally changing people's lives. I'm helping people right now who are, I don't know, who may perceive themselves as lazy, who get scrutinized by society all the time, and they just need to make small minor tweaks. And when I think of it like that, I'm like, yeah, that's something I want to do. I give myself empowerment and ownership. And again, that kind of feeds into a spiral of self talk of like, man, you know, actually, I love making videos. I love this YouTube channel. This thing is awesome. I want to share my ideas with the world. I want to do these things, and all that started with, again, that very simple trigger of like catching myself whenever I think I have to, or I got to, or someone's making me, someone's holding a gun to my head. It's like, yeah, just do this thing. Like your immediate response as a human is to be like, nope, I don't want to do that. Now, third technique so again, first thing we covered is annihilate overwhelm by breaking things to very, very small things to just make starting easy, and giving yourself choice and ownership. Third one, this again, very, very important, is very often like you're lazy because you don't know why you're doing what you're doing. And many people are clear on their like big why. Like, for example, I want to take care of my family. I want to scale my business so I can achieve all these amazing things. I want to live my life to the fullest. I want to travel and see the world. Like people have a very long distance why that they kind of make a lot of sense of. But again, especially if you're someone with ADHD, long term stuff don't really seem to motivate you. What you need is kind of like short-term rewards, right? The ADHD brain is lower on dopamine. The low, like there's hardware differences that make people with ADHD again a lot more likely to be lazy than someone not with ADHD. Again, because if you know something's important long term and you have a strong why for like 6 months from now, but that just doesn't do it for you. Your brain needs kind of a more of an instant like dopamine hit. So you got to sell yourself on it, especially you got to do it in the short term. And you got to remind yourself of the benefits, especially like the short term benefits, right? So, like for example, when you're thinking, oh, I got to plan tomorrow, you can't just say, I have to plan tomorrow. And your brain doesn't even know why you're doing that. And you're like, oh man, that sounds like a chore. Instead, again, using techniques 1, 2, 3, you say, I'll write down 3 things to do tomorrow. So I'll have a productive day and feel good about myself. Like for me, when I think, okay, tomorrow, like when I visualize myself feeling better tomorrow morning, that's going to motivate me a lot more than achieving some crazy goal in 6 months. Again, that's just how my brain works, and I have to work with that, right? Another example is say, oh, I have to go to the gym. Again, sounds like a chore. Okay, yeah, in 6 months, I'll get the amazing abs, like all that cool stuff. But short term, the reward is a lot more appealing to me, where I say, oh, I'm going to exercise for 30 minutes because I can feel more confident, and I'll have energy to get things done. And that's something I can do today. That's a reward I can achieve today, a reward I can reap today. And again, that's something very, very important with ADHD brains. You want to focus more on short-term stuff. Long-term stuff is going to inspire you, is going to make you feel amazing, but you're not going to take action. We're trying to motivate action here, again, because overcoming laziness has to do with overcoming with taking action. And basically, that's an example. Now, fourth one, which is extremely important, again, like this one is something that's kind of made to be this esoteric thing, or this kind of like fluffy thing on social media, which I hate, is the idea of self-love. And most people like think of self-love as like, oh, you just, I don't know, like take yourself to spas and whatnot, and like I don't know, like I don't even know how people perceive self-love. To me, self-love is like about self-respect and about just kind of giving yourself the support you need. And the example I use is that it's often you against the whole world. Like the world is so competitive. And again, like imagine there's two people inside of you. There's you who's acting, and then there's you who's listening. uh if you're not going to love yourself, if you're not going to take care of yourself, how the hell are you going to fight the whole world on your own, right? Like you need all the support you need. So for that, I say never, ever, 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 ever beat yourself up. Like there's literally zero benefit in self-criticism and any type of negative self-talk, and like, oh, dude, you're so dumb. You just did this thing again. Come on. I can't believe you did that. Come on. Last week you said you weren't gonna, like, this kind of self-talk does not help at all, right? Instead, what you want to do is you want to give yourself compassion and say, okay, I did something which I don't know why I did it. Maybe I do know why I did it. Instead of criticizing myself, let me see why I did it. Let me try to solve the problem. For example, if I don't know, if I just ate fast food and I promised myself that I'm not going to eat fast food, then maybe I shouldn't have so much junk laying around my house, right? Maybe I should not hang out with my friends who all they do is eat fast food, and I know that they're gonna just want to do that. Like maybe I just need a minor tweak in my environment. Like it's nothing wrong with me. Nothing's wrong with me. It has nothing to do with me or who I am. It's just my system or my environment. Something is wrong. Something that I'm doing is wrong. Something about my behavior is wrong. Something about my decision is wrong. So again, it's not something that's wrong with me. It's something that's wrong with my decisions, my behaviors. Obviously, these things are mine, but the idea is that I can change those things. But if I'm going to criticize myself and beat myself up, that's going to be of no helpful. Guess what that's going to do? That's going to make me not want to do any work. And that's going to feed into the laziness cycle. And I'm going to be even lazier. And guess who that benefits? Absolutely no one. So if you're having a long day and you say, oh, I didn't get much done today, I kind of wasted the whole day, I'm such a piece of blah, blah, blah. Like you could say, okay, I didn't accomplish much. That's fine. Why didn't I accomplish much, right? Like you want to instantly switch from self-criticism to like putting on your problem solving hat and thinking, let me be inquisitive, why did I not get much work? Okay, maybe I don't know what I need to do. Maybe I haven't figured out what I need to do. Maybe my environment needs like change. Maybe I should not be in my room all day. Maybe I should try grabbing my laptop and going to some coffee shop or some university nearby. Maybe I should call a friend. I feel lonely as hell, and that makes me not motivated to take any work. Like you instantly start diagnosing and solving the problem, and you spend like no time beating yourself up, right? Now, again, what I like about this is it does not lower your self-esteem. It does not feed into that laziness cycle of like, oh, I don't want to do this. To like, okay, let me figure out why I'm not doing it. And there's a quote I wanna finish off with, which is, when you love yourself, you are far more likely to become the best person you could be. And if you genuinely want to overcome laziness long term, one area that you can very quickly detect and see if it's going wrong is if you're someone who criticizes themselves and instantly try to be someone who's like, no, 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 nothing's wrong with me. I'm going to try to solve the problem. I'm going to solve the problem, right? I'm going to figure out why I did that. Okay. So again, these are pretty much the four techniques that I would use. And now, again, I don't want you to just go ahead and like forget all about this. There are ways that you like there are ways that you can reinforce this on a day to day. One day is you can have reminders, whether through your phone or through your computer or things of that nature. Another one is you can have like pinups on your wall or something like that. And I go in a bit more detail in my program. I'll put a link for that below. but you don't have to get it. If you can go ahead and watch the rest of my videos, so you can just familiarize with what else is going on how to be more productive, whether someone who has ADHD or not. And again, if you found this video useful, or if you have an idea on, or if any of this resonated, leave a comment below, introduce yourself, say hi. It's still a very new channel, so I'll be responding to all the comments as of now, so you can ask me anything you want. So yeah, with that being said, I'll see you in the next video. Peace, love.